to Charmed Life, a radio show discussing spirituality, magic, and the unconditional love of the universe. Thanks for tuning in. And I am your host, Tricia Carr. Thank you so much for joining me today. We just have a ball here. Thank y'all so much for joining me. And see, when you join live, fun things happen. But we're here. I'm alive. Are you alive, Jarvis?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. We're alive in all time and space, eternally speaking. And from let's just call it in. We're calling in a 12th dimensional aliveness today. That's what I'm calling.
Okay.
Well, actually, I do want to tell you guys about a couple of things. First of all, something really fun that I have done, and I want to share it with you. Spirit was talking to me about sharing this with you all as I was driving into the studio today, because it's just a silly little fun thing, but it actually has kind of real spiritual implications, and that is I am going to a concert. So, wow, that was a big lead up for nothing. But no, I have a favorite band, Jarvis. I told you about them, Midland.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I had you listen to them. Mm-hmm. Midland it's a country band, and they've been together a few years, and their album that's out right now called On the Rocks actually released, I think it's last September 2017, and they were nominated for a Grammy, and I love them, but they're still like not so huge that I don't know that they're not playing a ridiculously large stadium. I think that I'm going is actually quite an iconic place. Anyway, I'm going to San Francisco. I live in Los Angeles, so I'm flying into San Francisco just to see my favorite band. And I got a VIP ticket, so I'm going to get to actually go backstage and have a photo with them and stuff like that. Maybe I'll post a teeny little interview on my podcast stream, so... But what's cool about it is that I've had to do a lot of travel for work, a lot of travel on my own for work, and my husband isn't coming with me, and this is something that I'm doing purely for pleasure, and it's not that big of a deal. I'm staying overnight, just traveling just to San Francisco, like across the state, but it's really cool to do something that is just purely for enjoyment. And so I just want to encourage y'all to do something like that if you get the opportunity, because this is kind of a grand gesture for me, because I'm actually having to get on an airplane by myself, and it has nothing to do with work. I'm such a workaholic that I'll excuse anything for the sake of work, but this is purely because I enjoy this band and they inspire me so much. They're actually, like I say, it's a country band, and, I'm from Texas, and they're very much inspired by country and Western of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but also, like, the Eagles and some other kind of crossover, harmonic, popular rock music of that time. And so I just love them. I think they're amazing. And if you guys want to check them out, you can find them. Their website is Midland Official, and their social media handle is all the social media is at Midland Official. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. And then I want to share with you a couple of other things before I get into the topic today. The topic today is all about these channeled messages I got from archangels about, things that honestly will be serving. I think I didn't understand it when I first started to receive the message, the implications out into what's going on in our daily life, what is happening socially and politically. But that's actually what this message is an attunement for, to help us to figure out how to be our spiritual selves while observing things that are extremely challenging and people that are receiving the brunt of this pain that is seeming to come down from authority. I say seeming. We'll get into that. But I want to tell you about my animal communication program, which is live now. The registration is live. We actually start at the end of July, and you can find it by going to triciacarcharm.com/animal-communication. So this is a 4-week program. It's education, which some of it is self-administered, where you actually watch the lessons in my student portal on my website or listen to them. There are meditations and techniques, different things to help you to clear up your filters, as I call it, meaning to release any conditioning about what to expect when we're doing something like animal and nature telepathy, and to help us to actually tune back to what is natural for us, the information and the knowledge and the wisdom that we already actually know in the soul, but we have some sort of conditioning, and that's what it actually feels like learning, but it's actually unlearning is the way I see it when we're doing spiritual education. But it's also coaching. I'm going to be leading everyone in coaching sessions to be able to practice communicating with animals. Now, if you are an animal and nature lover, if you work with animals already in your life, or whether it is as a profession or just as a calling upon your heart to be one who is concerned with and showing the connection and the love of animals and nature, because we will be actually talking about communicating with nature as well, then I encourage you to check it out. Again, triciacarcharm.com/animal-communication. The way the program actually works is, like I say, there are some lessons that are produced where they're self-administered, self-paced, but we actually start the coaching the first week. We start practicing right away. Because I know that if you're interested in this and if you set the intention and you're showing up to be in this program, that you have a very special talent with it, but everyone has this ability to be able to connect. I mean, of course we do. We are nature ourselves. So to be able to connect with nature is natural. To be able to connect with animals who are already experts at this kind of communication, it is their primary language and their primary way to communicate, then yes, it is actually, in my opinion, a very easy gift or ability to uncover. And if you set the intention for it, I know that we're going to uncover that for yourself as well. We do start practicing right away. The program is, the way we're going to do the practice part of it is it's going to be a combination of doing it in a private study group on Facebook, as well as Zoom meetings, so like video call meetings where we all get together in a group video conference call, and we are practicing with one another, and I coach us through it. Now, some of the lessons also will be live delivered, but that actually doesn't really matter because they actually just get recorded and they go into the student portal. So some folks are saying, well, when are the scheduling of the live this and that? But it's not something that is determined yet. It's determined when everyone shows up with their intention, and just as long as you have 2 to 4 hours per week to dedicate to learning and also practicing, then you're going to be able to work it out. Now, if you say, I can only do it at 3 a.m. for 30 minutes, and I'm going to be like, well, we're not going to be able to accommodate you. But I promise you, I've done this style of program many times, and it's going to be determined as we approach the class, and it's going to be on a weekly basis, going with the overall intention and the availability of everyone who's involved. So just check it out, if you will. Again, it's triciacarcharm.com/animal-communication for serious students only, for those who are really interested in learning and opening their heart to that connection. I would love to work with you. Excuse me one second while I take a sip. And it's only me today. So when I take sips, it's going to have to be quiet for a sec. One time when I was doing a solo show, Jarvis, someone wrote me on the YouTube version of it or something, said the audio kept dropping out. And I was like, no, I was just taking a sip of water. So the audio's not dropping out. I'm just a thirsty gal, especially when I'm serving like this. I drink a lot of water. And actually, you know what? I feel actually that's a message for all of us. Hey, y'all. Hey, you spiritual seekers, you light workers out there. Drink more water. You can almost always use more water. My husband just discovered that about himself. He was like, I think my thyroid is off. And maybe it is. But then he was like, also, ETs just visited my dream last night and told me to drink more water. And he did, literally. My husband had a contact dream a few nights ago. It was really awesome. And so he drank like twice as much water, really paid attention to it the next day, and he felt better already. So water, really important element. It is the most essential element that we're 90% water. Is it 90 or 95? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. 90. Thank you, Jarvis. Jarvis is a doctor. Dr. Jarvis Essex in the house. So I also want to say hello to the Lightworkers Lab online spiritual community you can find on Facebook as a group. It is founded by my dear, amazing, incredible friend, Crystalline Compton, spiritual teacher. You should check out her YouTube channel too. She has so many videos up there delivering powerful education for spiritual seekers, for light workers. So do join us in the Lightworkers Lab. And this show is broadcast live there, as well as in my group, by the way. I should tell you all about that. But the Lightworkers Lab, you can search in Facebook by looking for the Lightworkers Lab. Endless resources, support, fellowship, and it is definitely an education platform. My group on Facebook is facebook.com/charmedlifelove. No, sorry. Facebook.com/groups/charmedlifelove. One more thing I want to tell you about, a community I have on Patreon. Patreon.com/Tricia Carr. This is a way that you could actually support this podcast and this broadcast, and I would love it if you would check it out. You can join at various tiers, and at certain tiers you get discounts on my services. You can partake in extreme discounts on coaching and one-on-one services, as well as our monthly meetings. We have a hangout on Zoom where we actually get together. I do reading, channeling, fellowship, answer questions, teaching, whatever spirit leads at the time. So it's like an included session. It's a group session, but group sessions are powerful, man. It's like going to church. And also we do a live group meditation/activation, and you receive a produced copy of that. So check me out there, patreon.com/Tricia Carr. And to the topic that I am delivering today, I entitled this Archangels Channeled Messages, or Archangel Messages on Forgiveness, Empathy, and what else was it? I forgot the name of it. What's the name of this show? Archangel Channel Messages on Forgiveness and Manifesting. As I said, I was receiving these messages, and I just felt these questions bubbling up inside of me. And so I could feel that those questions were asking for a channeling session with spirit, and in particular with certain archangels that I work with. Although one of the messages actually came through from one of my extraterrestrial guides, one of the benevolent, higher dimensional ETs that is working with me, who is working with me. And so as these questions were bubbling up, I feel the beckon from angels, from archangels, saying, the answers are here. And so I just go into the channeling session with the inquiries that are coming up from my heart. Clearly, these are things that I am asking for attunement on. And as one who is volunteering, electing to be someone who is a light worker, as we say, or shining these different messages by this show or in the other ways that I'm broadcasting or offering content and speaking and all of that, classes, then when we do that kind of work, and we all do that kind of work in everything we're doing, we just go to the grocery store and we're standing in line behind someone and we're doing our work because we're holding a frequency. And so it was time for me to have an adjustment for all of the intentions that I have, and the life purpose that I have, the calling that I am intending to answer and activate in my life. And the reason that these, as I said, after I finished the messages, I received them, I realized that at the core of a lot of the social and political discomfort, well, most simply stated, it's separation. It's the pain of having to focus upon separation. And for those who are compassionate and intending to have a more dynamic, unified connection and, to be working in and with love, empathy is a big calling upon your heart. And when you are observing that others seem to be in extreme lack of empathy as compared to you, it's very painful, and it's distressing, and it's stressful. And it feels like, well, things aren't getting better. Things are getting worse because all we see is pain. And we see that children and people of color and maybe perhaps women as well, and sorry, not to diminish women, but yeah, women. It's just as of the day that we're broadcasting this, there's a lot of emphasis on children and people of color right now, but it has been women as well, and just any group that, well, let's just say it, who ain't a white man right now. But I tell you, I'm married to a white man, and his heart is broken right now as well for what he's seeing, and it is scary. Because not just a white man, but a white man who has a ton of cash too, because we don't have a ton of cash. We aren't, knock wood, well, this is Formica, I think, but we aren't in poverty right now. And we have been, though, each of us, my husband and me, we have both had nothing before in our lives. And so if we focus upon what's happening, it feels very unsafe. It feels very scary, and it hurts. And so at the core of this, like I say, is observing that others seem to be completely immune to having empathy. And so that causes us to be in a state of withholding forgiveness. Because how can you forgive someone who disregards a child's welfare? I mean, it seems like the most responsible thing to do is to not forgive that person. And so this hurts. This isn't a way to live that feels vitalized or feels like we're actually able to do our work. And so my first question that came up in my heart to be answered by these channeled messages from archangels is, what do we need to know about forgiveness? I tried to make it as open-ended as possible because I wanted to find out if I'm doing something wrong and how I am trying to experience forgiveness, then show it to me. Now, this is in a more global perspective, but you could have very personal reasons that you are having, you're asking about forgiveness. So this could be perhaps someone who has treated you poorly in your personal life. Maybe it's family or friends, or if it is the fact that you actually experienced abuse as a child, which I did, or there's someone who is a colleague and you're observing things about them that make you feel icky inside and make you or feel challenged or feel like there's separation and anger between you, whatever it is. That is being in a space of not feeling connected or feeling like you cannot forgive. And so I asked, again, what do we need to know about forgiveness? And as I enter the session, I'm sitting in my state of altering, state of being in trance, and state of welcoming the communication. And so this channeling came through and I wrote it down so that I could share it. And who came through to answer this question is the energy that I know as the Archangel Uriel. And I'm sitting in Uriel's essence, and I work with Uriel frequently. He is an archangel of the divine masculine perspectives. I think some people see the archangels as divine feminine or masculine, and I think sometimes people see Uriel as feminine. I experience Uriel as masculine, so I'll use that pronoun. And I'm sitting in the energy intending to be neutral and have no expectations so I could be as open and in the greatest allowance as possible. And as I'm experiencing Uriel as an answer to this question, I experience Uriel as a teacher of joy, one holding space, a space of levity and happiness. Happiness, that word happiness was just starting to flow over me and through me. Because happiness is a more activated state than bliss. You know, we say we want to experience balance, and we do. And we want to experience clarity, absolutely. And we want to experience bliss, which is a sort of heightened state that is different than happiness. Happiness feels almost like something that we experience on the earth plane. But I was feeling happiness. And wouldn't the pursuit of happiness be something that seems like an antidote to being able to being in the experience of not releasing unforgiveness? And so my mood was lightening. I lightened in my mood just as I asked this grave question by being in the presence of Archangel Uriel. And I just wanted to smile. And I even wanted to kind of chuckle, that gleeful kind of chuckle, just like mirth is the feeling that was bubbling inside of me. Satisfaction and just sheer pleasure, just because of being, just the experience of being. And so again, if you can feel this with me, the lightness, I just felt so much lighter right away, because I came in with this heaviness of, I feel like I need to understand forgiveness because I'm not experiencing it fully, or at least not in a way that makes me connect with the truth of who I am. Felt like a division. And so I asked the question, I'm feeling the essence, and here's the message that I channeled that comes through from Archangel Uriel. Often humans think of the process of forgiveness as a dark experience. You feel that you are entering into an energy of shame, blame, or some pain that you must alone face and release. You tend to think that this release that you're doing is an unrewarded act, one that leaves you poorer, as if you must take the high road and bear the burden of that labor to end up in the same place as others who skate along, ignorant of the trouble they have caused. Or there will be an expectation of facing your own feelings of shame for holding the unforgiveness. There are feelings that were repressed as you felt unworthy to have the feelings in the first place. As you felt unnoticed and disrespected in the original event, you harbor feelings of unworthiness, trying to make this lie a truth. And this is the lie. I am unworthy. Trying to find a place for this lie in your identity is maddening, as it is contrary to the very essence of you as an expression of Prime Creator. I received you, the willing channel, meaning me. He says, I received you in an atmosphere of joy so that you could feel the truth of being before exploring the untruth. Forgiveness is the joyful conclusion of a hero's journey. As you depart from light with the bravado of a warrior, you risk forgetting how to come back home. You risk forgetting your truth. And so, when forgiveness is withheld, the warrior feels deserted, far from home and the comforts of love. Come home. To successfully access forgiveness, first be one with joy. This is more than the map home. It is the cosmic portal that offers a shortcut, so to speak. You may cease your toiling, cease your laboring, and just take one more easy step. As you tune your identity to joy, you ascend above the hard road home and stand at the cosmic portal. Identify with joy to find this portal, but do this only for the sake of identifying the truth of your essence, not as a means to an end. A true act of being joy, which you are. This will resolve all struggles that seem to block your path back home. To come home, just be joy. And so forgiveness is a state of being home, a state of being connected, a state of that unity. Because when we have unforgiveness, we are recognizing separation and we are feeling as though there is no way to be whole again inside the self or with others. Because when we feel the separation, this is the end. Sorry, the channel ended a moment ago. This is just me. I should say that. When we feel separation from others, we are feeling separation from ourselves because there is no difference. And basically, a practical way to do this, if you're feeling that pain about, what it is that is causing this stuff, how the president or the politicians or whomever can do what they're doing, just for the sake of experiencing joy, feel joy first, and then ask your question, because you'll find your way back home to that connection again. Does that make sense to you, Jarvis?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you understand this? Sometimes you ask me questions like, "But girl, how do you do that?" After the show, he asks me.
Yes, I do.
Are you frustrated by this answer at all?
No, it
Good.
just
Okay.
requires some work.
It actually, but I think what Uriel's saying is that it requires no work. He's saying that you actually need to stop your toiling and just be and connect with joy in any particular moment. And I know you know how to do that.
Right.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
It's actually the thing that it comes up a lot when in my work is that the hardest thing for humans to do is to let things be easy. We don't actually have to do all of the hard work. It isn't a hard work if we connect with the ease of joy first.
Right.
And then it just unfolds.
Yes.
I'm not saying we just evaporate into the
Okay,
ether.
I got you. Okay, so that's what I meant then. The work then to get.
Well, you still go back into the day, of course.
Right.
But the questions that were hurting you and the things that seemed impossible, the steps that seemed impossible to take, become easy and clear.
I get it.
Okay.
I got it.
Good.
I got it.
I love you because you challenge me. He does,
Really?
y'all.
Okay.
Yeah, he does. Well, before I head on to the next one, I want to talk about the sponsor for this episode of Charmed Life. Actually, speaking of wellness and vitality and wholeness, it is just the perfect sponsor. It's a vitamin company, and they are called Care of, CARE/of. And I love it because their ingredients are truly curated to be the finest and the best. It's really a vitamin company with a serious heart, but so much service too. See, even if you're trying to maintain a very healthy diet, which I do, I mean, almost have no choice because my body is very sensitive, it still can be hard to get the nutrients that your body needs for long-term health. And the reason for that is because we do live in a crazy context. As perfect as you may be, it's still, you're responding to the field in a way that causes depletion, stress in the body. And so we're never going to be, again, evaporating to the ether. So it turns out that I think 90% of people are missing vitamins and minerals in their diet and in what their total health makeup. So what Care of does in order to actually tailor it to you, they make it really easy because you take a quiz. It's actually really fun. I mean, I like taking things like this, a kind of self-inventory. So it's an online quiz. It makes it really fun and really easy to figure out what vitamins and supplements you need because the quiz asks you about your diet and your health goals, your lifestyle choices, and all of these answers will actually personalize the vitamins for you. And another problem that I have is that I forget to take them or I run out. And you know what I mean? Because it's a maintenance kind of thing. It isn't something that is really calling your attention every single day. And so they have it as a subscription service. My goodness, I need subscription services. They work so well for me. I love living in the future. They send you a subscription box of a 30-day supply. They're individually wrapped, so you can just grab and go, and you don't have to spend all this time replacing a bottle when you run out. And again, they've curated them for you because you really need to research what goes into the vitamins that you're buying. You can't just buy anything. And they actually cost about 20% less compared to other similar brands in local drugstores and health food stores and everything. So it's just fantastic. I just love this sponsor for Charmed Life. Again, it is Care of. And so if you would like to receive 25% off your first month of personalized Care of vitamins, visit takecareof.com and enter the promo code CHARMED when you are checking out. Again, that is for 25% off your first month of personalized Care of vitamins. Visit takecareof.com, enter promo code CHARMED. And we are back with our channeled messages from the Archangels about forgiveness and connection, and we actually end up with manifesting. We just received a message from Archangel Uriel, and as I was sitting in my channel, another question came up for me, and so I'm like, okay, there's forgiveness. That's when something's gone really, really bad. But what about the fact that I'm observing that people are incapable of empathy? I mean, this is hard, right, Jarvis? Okay, I can forgive someone who's done something bad, but you're an empath. And you see people that are just they seem to be immune to it, and it really makes you feel like there's no hope.
Yes, it does.
And I was actually hanging out with a friend last night, and he was sharing some frustration about a friend who couldn't see the difference between having an objective experience and a subjective experience. And it was actually, and I think it was really frustrating for him because it speaks to that, not being able to have empathy. He was talking about it in the sense of my friend was saying that this particular song and this artist sucks. And everyone's like, well, but it was actually Mariah Carey. And he's like, I mean, you may not like her work and you may not like the song, but you have to agree that she is a phenomenal talent. There's no way you can deny that. And I was like, well, Barbra Streisand is an amazing talent. I don't personally like her taste, and I don't like her music. Mm-hmm, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But she's a phenomenal talent, right. Amazing artist and vocalist. And so but this person that he was talking to was saying, no, I reject that. Why would I agree that something I don't like is good? Are you mad? Because you megalomaniac, you're not everybody. Right. And they were going round and round in circles. And the person kept saying to him, wow, I didn't know you like Mariah Carey so much. He's like, it's not about Mariah Carey.
That's funny.
Isn't it funny? But it was frustrating him, not because it is an implication of other people in the world who are going about, banging about, saying my experience is the experience that is accurate,
Right,
no matter
right.
what, the end.
It's my way.
It's a single perspective when they're not recognizing the fact that there are infinite perspectives. And from the metaphysical standpoint, the reason, or the function, I shouldn't say the reason, the function of that is being confined to a 3D matrix. Because now 3D isn't something that we want to say, you suck, get out of. When we're looking, many of you who are listening, you understand this very well. You're on your ascension path. You know what it means to be on your ascension path. You are experiencing in your life an activation of 4D and 5D and beyond. But that is what we're talking about, an awakening. An awakening means to be able to wake up from the confinement of just 3 dimensions of this, this experience. But so that person is experiencing, when he can't see that there's more than one perspective, your perspective is accurate, and so is an infinite amount of perspectives accurate. And that is what subjectivity is. This is accurate for me. Objectivity is there are many other things that are accurate for other people. And that is a kind of silly way to look at that communicates to not being able to have any empathy at all. And it's maddening. And when you see that, you're just like, well, then there is no hope. And especially when we see it and we say, well, there are people who are adamantly staying in this point of view and adamantly staying unawakened, and they are able to make calls about what is happening to other people. And so it becomes, again, very disheartening. And so, again, we're like, okay, so we forgive this person every time, but how many times can we do this? Right, Jarvis is getting frustrated. We're going to go back home. Don't worry. All right. So I ask the question, why do some people seem to be unable to grow, to change, or to empathize? Don't you want an answer to that?
Yes.
All right. Hang on, because I hope you don't get frustrated, but if you do, you ask me about it.
Oh.
And
Okay.
we'll unpack it a little bit more.
Okay.
So I asked this question. I didn't know who was going to come through. At first, I was expecting it to be an archangel because I was expecting this session to be an archangelic session. But I loosened my expectations. I kept turning because I didn't feel an archangel coming forward. And who was coming forward was actually one of my ultra-dimensional or extraterrestrial star being guides. And this guide I actually don't have a name for, except for it's one that just points to the star system that from which he hails, and I think that I get the energy is a masculine energy. I just must not be able to, I must not be in the place where it serves me to understand much more about this particular star being, or maybe it's just never important. They often get particularly extraterrestrial type of light beings or star beings. They remind us, because they are physicalized or they have experienced a lot of what, they've ascended from the experience of 3D. So they've gone through a path of what we experience as earthling humans. And they can remind us very much that you guys place too much emphasis on the linear perspective. Well, that makes sense. That's what the 3D perspective is about. And you place a lot of emphasis on the linear perspective, which is what we're talking now. Oh my gosh, it's making so much sense. Yes. Why this guy, I didn't even realize it. Why this guide is the one who came through. I didn't even realize it until now. And categorizing and putting labels on things and wanting a hierarchy. So this is better and this is worse. And like thinking that even the idea of thinking, well, you have to have a name and you are a higher being than I am. And I'm constantly reminded by the beings of light with whom I connect that no, we are not higher or better than you. We actually bow to you for going into the abyss with amnesia to try to remember how to stay home, try to stay with creator energy, or to make it back to creator energy, to make it back to your divinity. Excuse me, sip. And so this Lyran guide, he's from the star, the constellation of Lyra. And when I first met, and it's a council. It's several Lyrans. It's several beings, but I'm just kind of experiencing it as one being the mouthpiece. It's just easy, again, being linear. It's easier for me to experience like I'm hearing from one particular mouthpiece. Well, that's what happens with like Bashar, who's channeled by Daralanka. Bashar is a particular guy, but he's speaking on behalf of his people, and Abraham Hicks. Abraham is just the name for whatever channel that she's receiving, from which she's receiving information. It's not really a specific person. And so this, I just sometimes call, at first when I connected with these or this energy, they told me to just refer to them as Leon, which is not, I'll tell you why. It's because I have a Texas accent.
Leon.
Yeah, Leon. And I got Leon on the phone. Hey, y'all, Leon's on the phone. His twin brother Lowell's going to talk to us next. Leon, like lion, and they're Lyrans are lion people.
Okay.
Now, if I had a
I'm thinking of my brother, Leon.
You have a brother named Leon?
Well, I have a cousin,
Yeah, I have a cousin. I love it. I know. Well, yes, exactly. We come from the South, so it sounds pretty hokey.
Right.
But if I had a French accent, you would just think that I was divine when I said
Leon.
Leon. Yeah.
Leon.
You wouldn't be laughing at all. I'd be like, oh, that's so divine.
Right.
Yeah, you're just prejudiced because we come from a similar area. I'm too much like you. All right, so Leon. I actually don't even use that name. It was like kind of a precursor to me understanding that they were from a Lyra constellation. And so their essence, okay, so now quit laughing, Jarvis. It's a serious time now.
Okay.
It's a serious. Again, that's the other thing. We have to have spirit. Our engagement with spirit has to be serious. It's not. But but I just wanted to share with you the essence of this particular energy, and these guides are. See, they feel really different when you connect with these star beings because they are transdimensional or ultradimensional, but they do have the essence of physicality to them to some degree. It's just a texture of energy. When I'm explaining it to like my students about connecting to, all of the dimensions, you're multidimensional and you exist, especially as a spiritual seeker and a light worker, you exist on all dimensions. And you came in with the every human came in with the bare minimum of having their soul evolved to the 7th dimension. But as star seeds and light workers, we actually came in from the soul being evolved even more than that so that we could help to change and shift, the planet. And so these beings, they are in the 6th and 7th dimensionality, and so they're mostly non-physical, but they have in their essence the feeling of physicality or being able to materialize in some form. And when I say in some form, it's a lot of it is, this is actually coming through right now, it is this form of light that has some kind of density that sometimes humans can perceive with their physical eyes. But moreover, this is a kind of light physicality that is experienced with the more subtle perceivers of you. And that is, yes, your clair perceivers, those who are your spiritual perceivers. And sometimes the physical perceivers are not in the way of you experiencing it as well. So that might be that you will believe that you see something with your physical eyes, or you believe or you experience that you're hearing something with your physical ears, or you feel something texturally. And it's not that that's untrue, but it is that your physical senses are in the moment holding the space of ascension so that your higher senses, the more eternal sensors, are actually able to do their job in a greater detail for you. And this is the experience of being able to have contact with these particular beings in a sense that feels like it is being experienced on your 3rd dimensional plane. And it is really cool. Now, I particularly experience these guys in my meditation. But they do come in, we meet somewhere in the middle, and in this trance state of mine, I am ascended in my awareness, and I connect a bit more with my astral body than my physical body. So somewhere along the lines of being an astral projection or an OBE, but it wasn't a full one. And so these beings, like I say, because they have this kind of energy and this experience and intention, they can speak to the expertise of being connected to a star, meaning a planet, and connected to something that is manifested in the cosmic space. And they bring through the perspective of having made the ascension path. And it feels different than the eternal nature feeling of archangels or angels of any kind. And it feels different than an ascended master. And it feels different than a past loved one who has crossed over into the light and had their healing. And they actually just feel different the way that they emote, because it isn't exactly like the human emoting. Whereas archangels tune it to us so that we feel this powerful experience. They tune their emoting to us, and heighten ours. And these star beings tend to be what they are. And so a lot of times it comes across as really profound wisdom with the backdrop of unity and love and the law of one, essentially. If you don't know what the law of one is, look it up. You're ready for it. So these, if that helps, that's the essence I'm experiencing. And again, my question is, why do some people seem unable to grow, change, or experience empathy? And the guide explains, the moments that you feel this way, you are making demands to see change now. Before someone can grow, in quotation marks, before someone can grow, rather, show outward signs of change, their vibration must raise, and they must adapt a new frequency. This is something that you cannot detect in a state of insistence that you maintain as you're making demands to experience a certain outcome from a person in a certain moment. Do you see how your insistence is non-presence? And I answered yes. And how it is conditional? And I answered yes. You, meaning me, he's referring to me, you teach the lesson to others that when love is given, it is given unconditionally if one desires to stay aligned. So I'm going to say that again. When love is given, it is given unconditionally if one desires to stay aligned. And yet, you ask why someone isn't displaying your conditions in the exact instance that you judge to be the right one for change. And I said, I'm convicted. No, I didn't actually say that. I'm saying that right now. And I was like, wow, that is so true. I'm insisting that right now this person needs to understand the difference between subjectivity and objectivity. I'm insisting that right now I need to see the outcome of someone understanding empathy and having that change in their heart. And back to the channel, he says, it is the job of unconditional love to stay unconditional, always serving, always maintaining creator energy at all times. This is just as it is. This is the nature of energy. Energy, big E. The only energy, the one energy. And so I do feel a bit of an adjustment. I don't know if you feel that attunement, because now I feel that I'm speaking with these guides who are, like I say, ascended and having gone through this path of ascension, and I'm asking them questions that are very conditional and very impatient. And they're saying, well, we're here with, they weren't saying this, but I'm saying they're basically being here with me unconditionally and answering my sweet little precious childlike questions about things that I purport to know. And back to the channel, he says, with your free will, you're able to forget this. Forget unconditionality. But every time that you feel satisfaction, it is because you have remembered yourself to unconditional energy. And this is freedom. And that's the end of the channel. And so the answer comes to me that, Jarvis, yes, it is continuing to do the work. And we don't always get to see how unconditional love unfolds. But faith means that we continue to return to the orientation of unconditional love. And so we do our work and we hold the space and the frequency of empathy. And we do it with our hearts, without demanding, without having insistence that we see change, that we see the growth in this moment. Because as Jesus talks about how a seed is planted, maybe we're just the one who's planting the seed in that moment and someone else waters it. And it's all, love works every single time. And when it works, even if you become conditional once you give the love, it just means that you don't get to experience it as greatly. If you become conditional and you're holding demands about the fact that you must change. I've given you love and you must experience it and you must have a change of heart right now. Well, now you have decided that you are the only one. Just like the person who couldn't say that Mariah Carey was a good singer even though he didn't like her music. Well, now you've demanded that since I don't see change in you in this moment, then you aren't experiencing change and love isn't working. And so this is how we continue to feel free, is just to return back to unconditional love and believe in that expanded space that it works every single time. And so the work that you're doing, that is love, whether you are making demonstrations or voting, which is the most impactful thing that we can do in this kind of 3D system that we have. You have to vote not only when it's election day, but with your dollars and with your attention. Even in the quiet time of your attention, what you are paying attention to and feeding energy to is growing. And so, don't feed your attention to things that are causing more pain and disrupt. Now, I'm not saying that you become ignorant and you stick your head in the sand. No, there is a distinction. There is a difference between being aware in love and being oriented and focused upon pain and lies. We have a caller. Yeah, I forgot to tell you guys. 323-524-2599. Let's see who is here. Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Good.
Who's this?
Barbara.
Hi, Barbara. What's on your mind today?
Oh, I'm really surprised that I'm here. I've been listening for so long.
Oh, I'm here too. What's on your mind? What do you have on your heart today?
You know what? Just wanting to know what you see or feel, or any help for. I've had some physical ailments for many, many years, and I can't seem to get a hold on it. And I think I don't know if it has something to do with something that happened years ago, but I don't know, just wondering what.
Is this something to do with the respiratory system? Something to do with the respiratory system or something?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Is it?
No. It's no, it has to do with my back.
Okay. Well, I'm getting a feeling in the core area, and I am drawn to your heart. And so, as you say, if it is something to do with something that's happened in the past, since I was drawn to your heart, I would say that some heart healing would do you good. And so let's just ask on the on the emotional and psychological plane. I actually do see that there is some there's talking and there's heart emptying to do, that there is some stuff to go ahead and get some aired out, whether it's counseling or speaking about it with someone who's very close, but it actually does feel like counseling. And do you go to church? It feels like there is someone who is maybe a spiritual or some kind of counselor that would be a gentle way to do it, because I'm not necessarily feeling that it is the kind of hardcore psychotherapy that feels a little harsh. It really feels like a counselor, someone who is really good at listening and understands how to hold that space so that you can air out these issues and allow the healing to come by just being able to put them out and be able to express them in a way that will relieve you of them. Does that make some sense to you?
Right.
Can you feel?
I guess. I mean, it wasn't anything that really happened, like just like a traumatic incident. Nothing really happened. I was just my grandmother had a stroke in Italy. I went there, and on the plane ride back, I was 22. I felt this pain in my back, and it just never gone away. And I don't know if it was guilt for some reason. I have no idea, but it's just, and I don't even know if it had anything to do with that, but it was just, it's been since that moment that,
it's actually, there was something, I feel that is actually, it isn't the fact that your grandmother passed. That was a catalyst for you to be able to uncover some things. And it does have to do with a calling upon your life. I'm just getting a lot of having permission to be you. And also, for example, like having permission to have something that you need to express, that's one thing. And to be able to to own the fact that there are some things that I want to treat and tend to in my life. And so there's some self-care, but it's more than just like taking baths and stuff like that. There is some self-treatment, and there's ways that you don't allow yourself to express joy and connection. You labor away.
Okay.
You labor away, and you forget to allow yourself to be in the receiving position as well. And you know that, right? You have your kids, and it's some other things.
I get that.
Totally.
I get that for sure. But I guess I have to find someone then to to talk to. I imagine. Or?
Yeah, I think so. Something that's easy. It will be really easy. but it does feel, do you go to church?
Not every Sunday, but I do go, once in a while, but it's nothing. I mean, I used to do a lot, but it's kind of,
I feel just a compassionate heart. So it could be a companion there, or it could be someone who is in the sort of clergy of the church. Of course, you don't want someone who's going to be proselytizing and doing all of that, because that's not going to be helpful. It's more just about having a sympathetic and caring ear, someone who is nurturing and able to just love you through it and allow you to express yourself and talk about it, because I feel like there's some hidden stuff there. And I'm not saying it's like, oh my gosh, this dramatic incident happened and, somebody did this to you.
Right.
Yeah. So,
right. Okay.
that feels really important. And I would say, look into that. And then there are some, actually, I feel like there are some minerals, and actually taking some longer, vigorous walks, even though your back hurts and it feels like you don't want to, it actually will help to loosen the energy, because there's some stuck energy in there. And that'll be on the physical plane, and it'll start to give you some relief as well. Does that sound good?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Thanks for calling in, Barbara.
Sounds good. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
I have another channel coming through from Ariel. So I know we don't have much time. Jarvis, can I get Ariel out real fast? Okay. Thank you. Jarvis says yes. So then the next question I ask is for how, actually, I didn't ask a question. As we leave this question, or that I asked about, what do we do about not being able to see growth, change, and empathy in others? Archangel Ariel tells me that she will teach us how to perfectly love everyone and everything. And it's interesting. I'll just give you a little bit of this, and then I'm actually going to record the rest of this, and I will put it up on my podcast, because we have Archangel Ariel telling us about how to perfectly love with everyone, to love everyone and everything. And then I ask Archangel Gabriel, who comes forward, I ask, how does forgiveness relate to manifestation? It does. It really does. And so I will leave all of this for, actually, I'm not sure if it's going to be next week on the podcast or if I'll record it and put it up on the feed, but either way, it will be in the next week. I asked Archangel Ariel, Archangel Ariel, I didn't even ask a question. She stepped forward and said, I will teach you how you can perfectly love everyone and everything. And I will tell you that the answer comes out to, more or less, to play. To be in play energy. Lighten up. But it's actually really a lot of details. She actually gave me the most information. And so I will share all of that with you, the message from Archangel Ariel about how to love everyone and everything, and also from Archangel Gabriel about how forgiveness relates to manifestation. I will be sharing that in the next week. I would love to tell you guys again that you can find this podcast in the archives, published as an archive on youtube.com/Tricia Carr. I post other videos up there, channeled messages, meditations, and other kinds of classes and things that come through. When I go live in my Facebook group about once a week, and that is facebook.com/group/charmedlifelove. So if you'd like to join us there, I go live and I answer questions and give readings. And I also have these published as a podcast on iTunes. So do search for it, Charmed Life with Tricia Carr on iTunes. And I would love it if you guys would like, subscribe, share, and comment or review, because that really enhances the light. It literally enhances the algorithm of it too. So thank you very much. Also, patreon.com/Tricia Carr. I have many different services that I offer, animal communication, one-on-one services, and intuitive counseling, healing, and reading. And that is on my website, triciacarcharm.com. You can go work with me and you'll see the different kinds of services that I'm offering. And I have tons of classes up there. I actually have up there Meet and Work with Your Elemental Guides. That is an on-demand class. I have Empowered Empath and Highly Sensitive Intuitive as an on-demand class. And finally, I'm about to fully open up spots for my mentoring program, but you can find that on my website as well by searching triciacarcharm.com/mentoring. And this is a one-on-one mentoring and education, and it's awesome with practice as well to be able to open your intuitive abilities. And I have a development circle, so I will talk about that next week as well and announce the next date for my development classes in Circle. All right. Well, that'll do it for me today. Thank you so much to the archangels who came through and the Lyran ultradimensional guides who came through with these messages. And I look forward to sharing the rest of them with you. Thank you, Jarvis Essex, my producer, for making the show look cool and for contributing your 2 cents.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And so you can catch us live again next week at 11 a.m. Pacific on any of my social media outlets by searching at Tricia Carr Charm or on ubnradio.com's Channel 1. Thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are.